I was like, my goodness, what voice? I'm trying to go a voice, guys. Not in the voice. I want me there. I'm supposed to. My blacks, how you doing? You're going to be loving today's guest, guys. You're going to be loving her. So her name is Cassandra Mapanda. She's a Zimbabwean trained theater actress and voice-over artist who is very passionate about her craft and what it can do for people. She completed her O-levels at Peterhouse School in Marondera and her A-levels at Regina Mundi High School in Gweru, Zimbabwe. During her high school years, she excelled in cultural activities. She was a member of the public speaking and debate team, as well as the head of drama at both schools that she attended. She was awarded full colors for drama specifically thrice and accepted the Best School Play National Award for her school. She also participated in the Ested Ford Cultural Competition and won honors and first class award on more than one occasion. This Ested Ford Cultural Competition is an international one, right?
No, it's in Harare actually.
It's in Harare.
Harare for Harare schools, Zimbabwean schools.
It sounds bougie.
Is it? It does. That name is a bit bougie, isn't it?
Ested Ford.
Ested.
Yes,
it
All
is.
right. Cassandra's university years were no different. Yet again, she went above and beyond with regards to her acting. She studied theatre and performance at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Her studies, she maintained Dean's Merit. You go, girl.
I tried.
Grades for her studies twice in a row and worked consistently to graduate top of her acting class at the end of her studies. During her third year, she participated in a big theater festival called the Zabalaza Festival, in which she won the Best Actress Award. A year after, she was also nominated for the Most Promising Student Award nationally at the Fleur de Cap Awards ceremony. After university, so there was life after all of that. After university, Cassandra went on to perform Shakespeare at the Maynardville Festival, playing Queen Elizabeth in Richard III, for which she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress Award at the prestigious Fleur de Cap Awards ceremony yet again. In the same year, she played Hester Salomon in, what's this one? Equus.
Yes.
I think I saw a book like that.
Yes, there is a book.
There is a book like that, right?
Yes, it's based on a book.
Man. And her team was awarded the Best Production Award at the Naledi Theatre Award ceremony held annually in South Africa. Listen, I could go on with this woman's profile, but she's in the arts extensively. She is exposed. Cassandra is an amazing creative. She's a creator of note. She is an actor, a voiceover artist, and we are going to get to know what she has done with her life, with all the gifts and talents that she has, and how it really all started for her to realize that, hey, this is the gift that God has given me, and I'm going to bless the universe with this gift. So stand by for Diaries. Ladies and gentlemen, pulses all over. Help me welcome Cassandra. Cassie. And the crowd goes wild. Look at that. And she's like, thank you
Thank you very much.
I'm sure you love the sound of applause when you're done with your piece and you're like, I nailed it.
It's not even about I nailed it. It's just, I feel like thank you. It's just a thank you for me. The applause just mean that people were watching.
Right.
People were there.
Yeah.
People were listening.
And they appreciated the hours that you put in.
And they were touched and they were affected. And that means my job is done. It's done. My job here is done. Next one.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Let me take you back to your childhood a little bit. If you were to take us back to like a childhood memory before you were like pre-teen, please. What's that one memory that stands out for you and you're like, man, I had a good childhood?
So I think, man, I had a good childhood. My parents used to have this culture of reading to us when we were little. So I have vivid memories as a little kid, like 3, 4, my parents reading to me. But it was a time when there was a changeover. When I was about 5, 6, the books were now handed to me. And now I was doing the reading for them. So my parents would have this culture where they would literally sit down, my siblings would sit down, and I would read out these books to them, read these childhood plays, these books out aloud to them, and everyone would watch it as if it was a performance. But it was just done.
Would you do voices?
I would do voices. That's
and
when
the
voices.
Whole story.
That's when the voices were born, and that's when they were nurtured.
I love that. My mom used to do that for us also. Like when she would read like storybooks.
Yes.
Yeah, she would get into the mother's voice, the father's voice,
the donkey's voice.
Girl, she would go in there and sometimes make the sounds and everything. She animated everything. Even when she was like explaining stuff, she would be like, you know. So she, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, she would just like animate everything. And I think that made life really exciting for us. And you were explaining it on the other way, that no, you were the one now who was reading these books for them.
Exactly.
And you were like, okay, let me read it to you my way.
My way.
And it was like theater.
It was like theater.
Yeah.
It was like magic. It felt good. Their responses, but what was so impactful, and I think made me feel so confident as a child, was their responses. They received it. Remember we were talking about the applause.
Yes.
They would applaud. They would be so happy about my performance that I would feel so proud of myself. I can't tell if I was but
they were doing is they clapped.
They were clapping and they looked up. Yes, they were happy.
Right.
And I was happy because they were happy.
Then we get into the dynamics. Peter House, Regina Mundi. How did that happen?
So I was at Peter House till about 5th form, then moved to Regina Mundi, 5th form, 6th form.
Oh, okay.
So that's right next to Kwe. Yes, exactly.
Is home.
Exactly.
Girl.
Yes. What?
I'm a Kwekwe girl.
Are you a Kwekwe girl?
Yes.
I'm a Redcliffe girl.
I'm a Redcliffe girl.
Are you a Redcliffe girl?
I was born at the Redcliffe Medical Center.
Oh, really?
Yes, I don't know if it's still there now.
It's yakazovara, but it's Chiripo building, yeah.
Oh, the building is still there. I
yes.
don't even know what it looks like. But yeah, I'm Kwekwe born, Bulawayo raised.
I'm Bulawayo born, Kwekwe raised.
Oh, look at that. Yes. So yeah, Redcliffe was where I think I was in Redcliffe until I was about 5 years old, and then we moved to Bulawayo when I was 6. So I remember doing grade 1 in Bulawayo. I did preschool, I think for like 1 year. And then because the next year now I was going to grade 1.
Moving. So you've also moved around a lot.
Also moved around.
But I feel like there's so much value in moving. As you said, Peter House, Regina Mundi, totally different schools, totally different experiences.
Yeah.
Both of them shaped me and shaped who I am today, I think.
Absolutely.
Both equally.
Would you agree to say Regina Mundi brought out some gangster in you?
I think I wouldn't even say gangster, but it brought out like a good humility in me. I think it nurtured responsibility. We had a lot of chores. So it's gonna make me a good wife one day, I think. Definitely.
Ooh, girl.
That part of me was nurtured.
Sliding it in there.
Exactly. I think so. I give my kudos to Regina Mundi. It made me more academic because they're very academic focused.
Right.
Peter House is more holistic. So yeah, you do your extramural activities and they really focus on that. And if you're a sports star, they focus on that. If you're an artist, if you're a horse rider,
so like they nurture
those.
Okay.
Regina Mundi nurtures the academic in you. So I also give its kudos for that.
Would you say everyone has like an academic streak in them and it just needs like a little push, or some have it and some don't?
I think everyone has a way of thinking. That way of thinking might not always be the neurotypical way of thinking.
True.
It might not always be able to be assessed and judged by the way the academics judge it. So I remember even in primary school, I went to Goldridge Primary School. There was a special needs class, and people used to look down upon them, think they were not that smart, think they were not that bright. To this day, I actually have a friend who came out of that class who's a lawyer. So can we say he wasn't smart? Can we say he wasn't gifted? No,
because
he just had a different way of thinking.
Special class in school, and what it was comprised of, like the students within the class. And I would understand your point. Why people would look down upon them. And I say, I know there's no hope.
Oh, there's no hope. Yeah, like this dumped there.
Who was in the special needs class in primary. I didn't know what happened to her high school because we went to different schools. But she owns a salon.
Yes, of course. And I think in Zimbabwe especially, people need to understand that because around the world, people are beginning to get it. There's different ways of thinking. Not everyone
Yeah.
thinks books, not everyone's book smart, not everyone wants to be a doctor, not everyone wants to be a lawyer. People are smart and they're intelligent when they're given the language and the vehicles to use and the tools to use that they want to use. Someone might not be gifted in mathematics, but give them a paintbrush. Or
And see
someone
what
might
they
not
do.
be good as a nurse, but give them mota chayo. Anotokwanisa kugadzira mota kugadzira engine.
But then we've got parents who are like, "Berenga mabuku,
There
paintbrush
is
reji."
exactly, and I think to make it's I think I can't really say our parents are a lost cause, but I think we have to kind of that they are a little bit, but we have to focus on isusu and what we can do isusu trachaita kunevana vedu trachaita among each other peer to peer. That's where we have to focus on encouraging each other. So sure vabereke vamwe vanofoseredza dzimwe hama dzedu kuti dzinoita law zisingadiuita, but it's up to you also kuti shamwari yako kuti sure shamwari yangu just finish this degree. Obviously sometimes you have to do what your parents want you to do.
Yeah.
Once you do that law degree, save some money, you can always go back to school. There's also you don't need to be a lawyer forever.
No,
You can
don't.
save your money, then
You
go
don't.
to your carpentry school if that's what you
And
want to
do what
do.
you wanna do,
And do
yeah.
what you want to do, and you'll be even better for it because you can afford it because you have your law degree. So sometimes Gunzi Itairi is not always as negative as it seems.
Yeah.
Sure, you can study that chimwe chunu. What say that was follow up passion yako ya
Yeah.
ukuda follow.
I'm for the notion, learn how to read and write. If you can read and understand what you are reading, it's okay, go and do. I have a 16-year-old son, and I used to be that parent who was almost like a lost cause. I'm a millennial, okay? I was raised by gangster parents, and they pushed academics a lot.
Yes.
And
Same.
and they were like, you will do what you want after
Same.
you have done this. So me getting into the arts was like, hey, sure. But
I did it for you.
but I want to do this.
Yeah.
So now with my kids, I'm like almost the same, but
It's
little
hard,
bit
yeah, because
different.
it's in you. It's in our culture. It's
So
part of-
now
yeah.
I'm just like, hey, if you can read and write, please. That's all I want from you. I don't want you to get into sport or music, and then you're given a contract and you can't understand
True. There's also
what the contract
Yeah.
says. You will see 1 million, and then
when you
there's
think
and then there's like fine print that you
says-
don't look at.
Yes.
And then you discover that no, from that 1 million, all you're getting is 200,000.
Yes, I think.
And then you sign the contract saying, I just signed $1 million. No, my guy,
Then-
you signed a $200 contract.
I think there's a lot of education even that's needed within the arts. That kind of education.
Yeah.
You sign my contracts. You text. That's lacking because I think other careers and other industries have it.
Yeah.
Like lawyers know how to do whatever. Their accountants know how to do whatever.
Yeah.
But actors don't really know. It's like what we were talking about at that conference, at the
Yeah.
business conference yesterday. So I think that education is still lacking, and something's missing there and needs to be done.
So when you now are getting these accolades at school, the colors and the applause, your parents are there watching you, and the girl is doing the most. How did you break it to them that this is the route that I want to take?
I think they saw that it was the route I was going to take. So initially, I'm an empathetic person. I have to say this because this affects my craft and this also affects what I wanted to do. So initially, I wanted to do psychology alongside acting because I wanted to do drama therapy. There's a thing called drama therapy where you can help people.
Talk to us.
You can help help people with therapy, like you're a psychologist, but you use drama
No way.
to help. Literally, there's
Shut the
a
front door.
blend.
There's no way.
There's a blend, and that was my plan.
There is no way.
But then now when you got to the thing, the school was like, no, the drama degree is so intensive. There's no time. You can't do both. The campuses are different. You just can't do both. So obviously I was like, it's a given. I'm gonna do drama. So I think to my parents, I'm also the last born. So I feel like I think that
There
counts
it
a
is.
little bit. I think
there it is.
I think they were like, this thing is wild that she's about to do, and it's a bit scary. But I think the only comfort that at least I got a degree, like I don't consult with a lecturer or like that's what in the head there's like a backup, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong in that because it's good. Then I have options. Like if I really want to go and lecture at UCT, I can. But that's not what I want to do, right? But I think it gave them some sort of comfort and security, and I don't blame them for it. It makes sense. It's a risky move.
Yeah.
So just doing a degree in it helped. So just give them ease of mind.
Like, Mom, I'm getting a degree out of this.
Yes.
What did they want you to do?
What they wanted me to do what I wanted to do, but in their hearts, I think because as a kid, I also used to talk about psychiatry and psychology a lot. They were excited about that path.
Yeah.
The drama one just scared them a little bit.
So you tried to bring the psychology and the psychiatry
together.
in drama.
Yes, together.
Like, I can do it.
I can do it. Yeah, shakaramba. So I think they were just a bit apprehensive, and rightly so. It's a risky career. It's really hard. Like, it's a hard career. It's not always roses. It's not always easy. So I understand their choices and their thinking in that. I don't condemn them for it. But I'm even happy that they even let me go.
Oh, wow.
So,
and you are the last born of how many?
3.
Boys, girls?
1 older brother, 1 older sister.
And what do they do?
My older brother's in finance. My older sister's a lawyer.
Girl, you're like...
I'm like...
Set. No, I'm saying, like, you are set for life. If anything goes wrong, you're like, hey, baby, sort out this thing for me. Hey, sis, I got myself into trouble. How do
she can read my contracts, I guess.
Exactly, she can. We're speaking to Cassandra Mapanda, who is an artist, a creative. But her focus mainly is in performing arts. So let's talk about being an actor. When you studied this degree and you were like, this is what I want to do, fine arts. Did you want to practice it, or did you want to teach it? What did you want to do with it? What was the main thing that you wanted to do? Because sometimes life takes a turn. You were doing great primary school, the acting, high school. You're doing
competition even, right?
Yes,
things are different. It's a smaller pool. Zim is a small pool.
It's a small pool.
School is a smaller pool. Now you're in the big pool.
Now you're in this big pool. Studied in South Africa, and you know what it's like.
Yes.
In that place.
Yeah.
Very competitive. What was your end goal with studying fine arts? What did you want to do with it?
3 words. I wanted... Oh, is it 4? 4 words.
Okay, 4 words. Here we
I
go.
wanted to act, period. I wanted to act. I did not know where or how or whatever. I wanted to act. I did not want to teach. I did not want to coach. I did not want to do it. I wanted to act. That's when I went in. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to act. I wanted to act. Whatever is happening. I've done corporate acting before. I just wanted to act. I wanted to be someone else and act. That was it.
So
it was tunnel vision.
With the acting, there's the theater.
Yes.
There's the movies.
Yes.
There's sitcoms. There's
Instagram reels. There's TikTok.
There's Instagram reels. Thank you.
It's a medium.
It is. I'm just shocked that we're actually including.
We have
those.
to.
My gosh, it's so shocking how the industry has grown. But you were like, theater is what I want to do.
To be honest, because I was trained in theater, and my whole life, when I look at it, drama, Peter House, my school play, primary, my school play, theater is what I knew. Theater was what I embodied. So for me, theater was what I wanted. I wanted the live applause, looking into the audience's faces. That's what I wanted. But has that changed? Yes. But if you ask me what I wanted, that's what I wanted to look into those people's eyes and hear their applause.
And then after getting the applause, then what?
Then I do it again.
Then you do it again. What has been the favorite piece that you acted?
Richard III, that was directed by Jeffrey Hyland at the Maynardville Open Air Theatre, where I portrayed the role of Queen Elizabeth. I think it was my best role and biggest challenge.
Right. And playing certain roles, obviously your voice has to act also.
It does.
You can't go there as Cassandra.
No,
you had to be Queen Elizabeth.
I had to be Queen Elizabeth.
So is that where the voice over acting came through?
So the voice, that's what I was saying before, and I was like, I wanted to act. Then I think along the way, I was like, I also do voices, and I like talking, and I like reading aloud.
Right.
So let me try this voiceover thing. But I think my first attempt was a fail, because I emailed this agency, but I didn't even know what a reel was. I didn't know. And that's not a research. And that's why I always tell people when they ask me for assistance, what research have you done? Have you gone on Google? Do you even know what profession this is? Do you know what it takes? I hadn't done that. Just sent an email to the best agent, and I was like, hello, please pick me. I have a good voice. They didn't reply. Then only years later, our guest lecturer, comes and she's teaching us voice. Then she teaches us voice for like a few months. Then at some point she comes to me and she goes like, I want you in my voiceover agency. So I'm like, what agency? Then she's like, the agency, and that number apply. Then she's like, she owns that agency.
No way.
So I'm like, oh, I actually applied. Then she's like, what? How? We didn't see, But basically, obviously, I hadn't applied with an informed mind. I had just thrown and hoped something was going to come out of it. So that's kind of how I got an agent, and that's kind of how I got like the ball rolling into voiceover work. But now most of my voiceover work is independent because I've put myself on different platforms online,
right?
And I work remotely for clients all over the world,
right?
And I have my own studio set up. So now that thing which I didn't think, remember, I just want to act. I just open my mind. I cannot. Hone in on that craft, get better, and now I even feel like my voiceover job is more of my 9 to 5 than my acting job. My acting job is almost like my passion job.
Are you still getting booked for
acting?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I was
abroad.
In South Africa. My last play was in August. Yeah.
Your last play was in
August. Yes.
Where?
In Joburg.
In Joburg. Okay. So with the voiceover acting, you've got your lecturer coming through, teaching you how to do voice. She picks out your voice, but it was from the agency that you had applied for.
Yes.
Now you are in this agency.
Now I'm this. Yeah.
How does the voiceover training help your acting?
So there's no voice. So what training attention to digital score is not voice-over training.
It's
voice training. It's voice training. So it's kind of it's for acting. So it's kind of like I'll need an hour to explain, but it's basically just tuning into your voice, finding like warming up your voice, where your resonators are, how to play and modulate your voice, how to project, how to speak, how to speak and be heard on stage. Basically,
Girl,
that's what
you
a voice
stood up
class.
and spoke yesterday. You were not even on stage, but you had the whole room going, yo.
Thank you.
And I was like, no, please allow us to give you the applause that
Thank
your voice
you.
deserves. So you played Queen Elizabeth,
Richard III.
in Richard III. Give us a one-liner from this.
Whoa! Whoa, my son! Whoa! That's the one I remember.
Girl, you just went into character right there. Like, I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And you had to, like, do rehearsals and stuff.
Yes.
Get into the emotion.
No, it was
get
hard.
into the character. There's an interview I watched of Denzel Washington, and they were asking him, I think it was on BBC One, where they were asking him about how he prepares for parts and everything, and he says, I just don't read the script, I become the script. Is that the same thing with theater? Because I just asked you just one line or something that you did, and you didn't like, whoa, my son. You literally went into the character of Queen Elizabeth is crying. You covered your face and you envisioned Queen Elizabeth crying over her son, and you voiced it out. Do you always do that, even during rehearsals? Or
during rehearsal, I think every actor's process is very different. Some actors literally will be talking backstage, chilling, chatting. They jump on the stage and they just put it on. For me, and especially because of the roles I get cast in, which are usually very emotionally heavy roles, I don't do there's a thing called the method, which Heath Ledger and actors like Heath Ledger use. I don't use the method fully, but I borrow from the method.
Okay.
So I do believe that if I'm gonna play a role, I need lots of time. So like my warm up before a play is like 2 hours. And when I'm in a rehearsal process, I take it very seriously. Obviously, there's like breaks and whatever, but because you're about to step into someone else's shoes, tell someone else's story, and try to be as authentic with that story in that moment.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do that for 40 nights in a row, in front of 600 people. I think I know to each their own. Other people can just jump on, but for me, I need to be mentally in that space. I need to put myself in that space. I need to prepare to be that person. And you can't just be a person in a second, and is what I believe. I need those 2 hours to become Queen Elizabeth.
Right.
To sit in her shoes.
And then do you snap out of it after the whole play is done?
I have to. There's also a ritual.
2 hours.
I also need another 2 hours.
Snap out of
Exactly. I now need to go home, take my bath, play my playlist, remember who Cassandra is, step back into Cassandra's shoes.
Like get out of Queen Elizabeth's shoes.
Throw those shoes away. Throw that.
Just now you were there speaking in your English. Wherefore art thou, my Bolio? And you're like, wait. Okay, this is real life now.
You have to just give yourself a moment.
Right. There's a message from Olivia Hove. Anzi Cassie is an absolute star and has always been a star. Beauty, brains, and a baddie.
Oh, thank you.
Apparently you're a triple threat. Hey? You're a baddie.
Thank you.
She's a baddie. 0719 100 404 is the WhatsApp number to send your messages through on Cappy Talk. We're speaking to Cassandra, who is a fine arts performer. She is an actor, voiceover artist, and she's been doing this for quite some time now, and I don't see her backing out of it. If you are listening and you're thinking, I want to get into acting too, I want to get into theater, or I've got children who love this, this interview right here is especially for you. Can you survive on acting alone in Zimbabwe and voiceovers? Is that something, because people are always like, is she making mine? There's a question, I don't marry. I don't go on, but I don't marry.
So, can you survive on acting alone, period, in the world? Is actually the question I even think.
So scratch Zimbabwe.
Not even Zimbabwe, in the world. Can you, because obviously I'm sure Leonardo DiCaprio can survive, but we're talking about the general actor. Yeah. Because people always think of an actor and they think of the most famous. We're just talking about most actors aren't famous and they're still actors. They count as actors. They're artists, they're actors. I think I used to think you could, but I've realized you probably can, but depending on what kind of lifestyle you want for yourself, it's good to kind of think out the box and create different streams of income. So for me, I'm an actress. That's what I want. Remember, I wanted to act. That's why I went to drama school.
Right.
But voiceover artistry is what pays my bills. It's not like what I dreamed about, but it's what pays the bills. So sometimes you're an actor and you love acting, but because there's so much space in between jobs, they can literally be like 6 months and you have nothing. You can't just say I'm an actor and just sit there. You have to think, okay, I'm an actor, but you know what? I'm actually such a good actor, but I'm also a good teacher. Maybe I can coach Vamwewan.
Right.
Maybe let me be an acting coach also.
So within that same...
no one's asking. Within, because I know a lot of people will be like, no, be a waitress, be a whatever. I know for me personally, that doesn't work. I want to stay in the same realm. So what can I do in this creative realm that won't eat me up, I don't want to sell my soul to something else. I want to stay in the realm. I want to stay a creative.
So what can I do within that
within this creative space? I'm an actor. I can be an acting coach. You have to kind of be creative. You're a creative person, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of think. You have to think. You have to think about your own strengths, your own skills, and what you can do with them. And I think a lot of us just think we just do one thing. So you have to kind of branch out and really think. Write down your skills. Think what you can do with your skill set that you've been given.
Yeah. And if you were to advise a voiceover artist listening right now, or someone who wants to venture into voiceover artistry, based on the example you gave that you sent your voice, or you sent an email and said, I want to join the agency, I've got a good voice. Plenty of people have good voices. I heard amazing voices yesterday. But you could tell they were just amazing voices, but not nurtured, not polished. But if they put in the work,
they can get there.
Definitely
get there.
Be like, wow, give us new voices to listen to while we switch on the radio, on the telly, on Instagram, on the gram, or any social media platform. It would be lovely to hear new voices, because right now the voice bank is somehow limited. We hear the same voice all the time. I can even say, oh, this one is this one. Oh, this one, that's that one. Oh, that lady is that one. And so how do you then advise someone who wants to get into the voiceover acting and say, hey, listen, I'm making my back here. I'm making my bread. The bag I'm bagging. But this is what I did to bag it. Yes, I act. Yes, I can teach you and all of this, but this
is what you need to do.
This is what you need to do. Yeah.
I think you've got the voice. Well done, voice.
Yeah.
That's great. I've been told. I think my driver today told me that I have a good voice. Am I going to sing? And I was like, no, I can't sing. But just because you said, oh, you sound like you can sing, doesn't mean I can sing. Do you get what I mean? Doesn't mean I'm just going to become a professional singer.
There's some people who just come to toot your horn for nothing.
Oh, there's also that.
Yes, there's those who feel like they know, but
they don't really.
No.
So my advice is, okay, let's say you do have a good voice.
Yeah.
There's more to being just like someone can say you care a lot, you should be a doctor. That's not how it's a whole profession.
Yeah.
So before people even approach another voiceover artist wanting advice, I think you must do your own research. Basic research. Go onto YouTube and Google, what do voiceovers do? How much do voiceovers get paid? What does it take to be a voiceover artist? Because there's so much material, so many articles. What do voiceover agencies look for? What does it take to look up other voiceover artists? Listen to them, because they don't just have a good voice. They have cadence. They have professionalism.
Talk about it.
They have rhythm. They have enunciation. They've got eloquence.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of other things that are needed. So after you do that research, then you gotta work. Because, for example, I was saying I used to read aloud. I started my work luckily as a kid. I was reading aloud. I was doing reading competitions in high school. So I've been reading aloud since I was 5. So if you're not someone who usually reads aloud, start reading aloud. When you get a newspaper, read it out.
I used
read
to do
stuff.
Newspapers. I hated it, but I'm cool now.
But it helps. It really helps
It
because
does.
you practice. Being a voiceover artist is about reading aloud. Sometimes the client's in your ear. There's 5 people in your ear. All of them are directing you. All of them are like, okay, go. You need to be able to read well with your nice voice.
Yeah.
Under pressure, but also someone is going to say direction. The other guy is going to say this thing. So it's a whole lot of things because it's not just good voice and woo. There's direction. There's people. There's clients sitting in there. There's pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also think, do I want to deal with that pressure?
Yeah.
Do I want to? There's corporates. Corporates are very they're very finicky. It's not just hunky dory, just roses.
3 pages of a script.
Exactly.
Back to back.
Exactly. And
you're like,
yeah, and you have to keep the same tone from the beginning to the end.
I once did a documentary for one of the ministries, and they wanted grassroots type of voiceover, and they hadn't shared their vision as to what they wanted the documentary to sound. So I walk in there and I do Becky. After doing the 3 pages back to back, they send the voice and they're like, no, Tirukuda grassroots. And I was like, so you want me to say Cassandra Mapanda is a Zimbabwean trained theater actress?
Why didn't they just get someone who sounds like that sometimes?
So now, can you imagine? I was like, okay. And I had to get into those shoes. It was the hardest script I ever did because I don't sound like
that. I know.
Naturally.
And that happens in voiceovers. Like, you think you're going there. Even in South Africa, they I go to a voiceover artist. It was for a company, a bubblegum company. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, let's start. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do they've listened to my reels. They know what I do. Okay, they give me the brief. I'm like, cool, let me do it. And they start saying, can you sound a bit more Cassie? And I'm like, how would I sound Cassie when I'm not South African? Did it say on my profile, did it say did it say you know what I mean? All these things. And my agent, it was so confusing because sometimes that happens and you also need to know how to deal with it, right? You're not gonna. So it's a lot of things at play and a lot of things you have to deal with as a voiceover artist that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
And they just think it's easy. Yeah, I'm married and it's just easy. It's just easy money.
So do you have a voice bank for Cassandra? Like if a certain company is looking for you, you send them something, whether it's a voice compilation of the different voices that you can do.
I have samples. So I send potential clients samples. I'm also on several websites where my samples are on and where my profile is on. And yeah. So
what's the biggest mistake you've done in the industry?
What's the biggest mistake? I think not followed my instincts. when I was younger, there was this client who I could just tell like something was just off, man. And then I did this voiceover and they ran away. They never paid me. I think they were from somewhere in another country. And they just never paid me. And they ghosted me. So now I follow my instincts and I read, and when I'm reading messages and emails or whatever, I can already suss out a client. I check them out. I check out their brand. I look for them on LinkedIn so that I'm sure who I'm dealing with. Because you want to know who you're dealing with. You don't want to deal with someone who's going to give you a headache.
Yeah.
You also want to deal with someone who's just who's going to run away.
And they run. Oh, there's another runner. There's a track star. There's a message from Kuda James. Kuda James says, hi, is this Cassandra from Kwekwe Mbizo, sister to Tonge?
No, it's not from Mbizo, from Redcliffe. No, and I don't know a Tonge.
No, it's not her.
It's not me, sorry.
Do they sound the same, my brother? Do they sound the same? Another message here from Lennon, watching on Facebook, says, does Cassie do training or coaching for groups or individuals?
Whew. So this is what I was saying. This is another thing. Auntie, I said I wanted to act. Now I'm a voiceover artist. I'm thinking about being a voiceover coach. So my answer to that is I think I'm working on it and thinking on it.
Yes, she does. We will give you her contacts after the interview. You can get a hold of her and you can go and get your voice trained. Because I would sign up. Yesterday when I heard you speak, I was like, yes, girl, une voice I go, but you don't know voice. I was like, I would sit and be trained by you. Like easy.
Thank you.
I would
Becky.
love to learn how to, stretch my voice, the different ranges, the different voices that I can do, how to create a voice bank, how to create samples so that, because you know what happens, companies will look for you. Hi, Becky, we love your voice, eh? You know how they butter you, eh? We love your voice, want to work with you, da, 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 da. Can you send us a sample, but reading this script?
Yes.
Right? I do it. I'll make you listen to one. And this hasn't happened in a while, but now I know how to play it. And they'll be like, oh, thanks for the voice, but it didn't qualify. Maybe next time.
So you want to understand why.
And I was like, okay, what was it? Did I not get the assignment correct and everything? No, a few weeks later, you switch on the radio, you hear your voice on radio, that same voiceover that you did that they said, sorry, it didn't make the cut.
So you can always watermark your videos.
There we go. So now I'm like,
your voiceovers, I mean.
And I'm like, what did you mean?
That's messed up.
That's my voice. And you said the client didn't approve.
That's messed up.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
How do you protect yourself?
How do I protect myself? And I know we can't cover all of that now. But when
that's
you
what
do
people want to know. That's what people want to know.
People want to know. How do I put an IP on the stuff that I've done? How do I get paid? Because at the end of the day, like you said, you could have a great voice, but if you're not making anything from it, what's the point?
True, that's true.
So yes, she does training. She does training. If there was one thing that you would like people to know about the arts or the arts industry, where you think it's going and what can be done better, what would that be?
I think there should be an emphasis on peer-to-peer education. I think a lot of the times as people, even, we look up to big names and popular people and famous people to come down from their throne and educate us and give us help. But I think a lot of the information that we need is amongst one another, is with one another, like is peer-to-peer. Like, so even yesterday at the conference, that's what I thought my suggestion was. Like, a lot of people are looking up and above for the answer, but maybe I might have the answer someone's looking for. I might not have all the answers, because I'm also not a big shot, but like, I know some things and I can share some things. So I just think there should just be less gatekeeping, and I hope there should be more like knowledge sharing in this industry. Knowledge sharing?
Yes. Less gatekeeping?
Yes.
If you were to do anything else besides what you're doing now, what would you do?
Psychology.
Girl, you're going to peek into people's brains and
I
stuff.
do. I actually might go study it.
You might go and study it.
I might.
Yeah. I think your voice would be quite
soothing.
Yeah. It would. Like, so what did you say happened? And then before you know it, everyone is like telling you their life story, and then are you a good listener?
I am.
Because I mean, psychology has got to do a lot with listening.
Yes.
I zone out.
I am a very good listener. I'm an active listener.
You're an active listener.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, so I'll look for you, like for real.
For
now.
real,
I'll be
real.
Like, so now, Cassandra, listen to this. Any parting words? What does Cassandra stand for? What does she live by?
I live by empathy. In my art, I'm empathetic because I step into other people's shoes. I tell other people's stories. In my voice work, I'm empathetic because I tell the brand story. I tell the corporation story. And in my life, I hope and I try to move with empathy and sincerity.
Becky, Cassandra mentioned something about Regina Mundi bringing out the woman in her. Is she saying boarding school is the way to go? Peterhouse, you were a boarder also,
yes,
right?
yes, I was.
So, but you really attributed to Regina Mundi bringing out certain qualities.
Yes.
Are you saying boarding school is the way?
It's not the only way. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it is a way. And there is some benefits from boarding school. I think there are a lot of benefits, but I'm not saying it's the only way.
Okay.
I think day scholars, I know a lot of day scholars who also are successful and they grew up into good people. So, but there's a lot to learn from boarding school, I think.
Would you take your kids to boarding school?
Yes, I would.
Oh, you didn't even think about that.
In a heartbeat.
Like, you wouldn't. I'm holding my cards close to my chest. I have a daughter who's going to Form 1 next year. She wanted to go to boarding school, and Peterhouse was one of the schools. I said, I love you, my child. When I start making big money like that, to send you to Peterhouse, no problem. But we found a really good school. But she was big on boarding.
Oh.
I wasn't.
Why? But isn't it just the maternal instincts? You don't want it to go far away.
Because
But you'll be safe at boarding school.
I went to boarding mission.
I know mission. And Monday mission. Mission.
Girl, that's why I was like, did it bring out the gangster in you? Because boarding brought out the gangster in me. And I think it's a good quality also, but I'm sure she can learn it later in life. It's okay.
I think maybe just try one term and see. And then maybe she'll tell you her experience.
Try one term and see? Alright, Cassandra. I'll try one term and see. How do we get a hold of you? How do we find you? Your social media handles? And what next for Cassandra?
You can find me on Instagram, Cassie Pamsy, CassiePamzy.
Cassie Pamsy.
Yes, and then if you have any queries, you can email me at cassiemaps@gmail.com. So Cassie, CASSIE maps, MAPS @gmail.com.
So that's Cassie with the double SIE.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming through to She Diaries. It is a minute to 1 o'clock. We'll be getting into the news in a little bit. We were speaking to Cassandra Mapanda, who is a fine arts artist. She is an actor, voiceover actor, and she says, I am not going back anytime soon. I'm not drawing the cards back. I am pushing through, and you will hear her voice. What's your mantra?
My mantra. Instincts. Trust your instincts.
Trust your instincts. I like that. So from Cassandra and Cappy Talk and Becky K for the first hour, Cassandra says, trust your instincts. Stand by for the news. It's 1